I also appeared for Microsoft and Goldman Sachs, but I was rejected. I specifically took BTech plus MTech dual degree course. Later in second year, I started with ML roadmap for somebody starting with data science.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Learning Bridge. I hope you guys are doing good and staying safe. So guys, I do remember you guys were keep asking me to bring someone from the data science and machine learning background, especially who is fresher or someone in the final years of his college life. So finally the wait is over, and in this podcast I have Priyansh Saxena with me. He has answered all your genuine kind of doubts like how to start with the data science domain in the college, what kind of resource do I need to follow, what will be the crisp roadmap, step by step things to learn, what kind of projects you guys can create in this domain, and especially how much coding do you need to be in this data science domain. So these kind of doubts Priyansh has cleared in this podcast, and this podcast would be definitely really informative for you guys because he's someone who opted BTech plus MTech dual degree, and at the beginning he was really good in the coding side, but instead of going into the core software profile, software engineering profile, he chosen this data science domain, machine learning domain, and from there onwards he didn't stop and filed one patent plus did 4 research papers plus 2 book chapters. And guys, if I talk about his internships, so he has interned with some really big names like Dell, IBM, EY, Zomato, GoIbibo, and he has 2 full-time offers as well, one from Dell and another from Zomato. And guys, in this pandemic time, he has interviewed with so many companies for internships and for full-time offers, mostly off-campus and international opportunities. And how that was possible for him? Because of this solid profile he has created. So he has shared all that experience with us as well, and the interview experience of Zomato and Dell. So that's why I'm telling you guys, this one is going to be really informative for you. So make sure you watch this video till then, and if you find it informative, then do share it with the aspiring data scientists and in your friend circle. And guys, as always, if you want to utilize your weekends in a better way, then do not forget to register yourself for the free and amazing masterclasses of Scalar Academy. In this weekend, again, we will be having some amazing free masterclasses like building Uber Ride kind of application from ex-Facebook team lead, advanced concept of binary search from ex-Googler, concepts of dynamic programming, deep dive into dynamic programming from ex-Director Engineer, and a AMA session with D. Shaw Engineer. Do not forget to join those free master classes. Link is in the description. Go and register yourself quickly so that you can utilize your weekends in a better way. So now guys, let's quickly jump on to the main podcast part. So hi Priyansh, welcome to my channel, and first of all, thank you very much for joining us today, and I'm really glad that you are here today with us. Can you introduce yourself, and the add-on question would be, why did you choose BTech plus MTech dual degree course?
Yeah, so as Shashank said, my name is Priyansh. I'm finally a student at IIIT Gwalior. So this is a 5-year course, integrated dual degree BTech and MTech. And before this, I was working in GoIbibo, Ernst & Young, IBM Research, Zomato, and right now I'm interning at Dell. So all these were internships. Most of them were data science internships. Yeah, and I have 2 full-time offers, one from Zomato as a machine learning engineer, and one from Dell Technologies as a software developer 2 role. And answering to your question, why I specifically took BTech plus MTech dual degree course. So the reasons for me were threefold. So I took a drop after my class 12 for preparation of JEE. By taking admission in this 5-year course, this extra additional 5th year, by giving one additional 5th year, it would give me a 2-year degree, which typically if you go for master's, you will take 2 years. So this additional 1 year would help me in recovering that lost 1 year, which I took as a drop after my class 12. Another reason this was not a major reason for me, but yeah, this can be the reason for some other people. In 5th year, you get a scholarship or a stipend, so you don't have to pay your fees for the 5th year. And yeah, of course, this was one of the best college that I could get in this range. So if you ask me, what are the pros of getting into a dual degree course? So first of all, you get a master's in 1 additional year. Secondly, you start well equipped academically before starting your professional career. So before starting a real job, you would be having both master's and bachelor's degree. So it would be an add-on in some cases. Specifically, if you are targeting data science roles or some specialized roles, so they generally demand you a master's degree. And one benefit is also there, like in if you are having this instead of 4 years, you are having a 5-year course, so you get some additional time for self learning and of course for doing lots of internships. So moving on to some cons that you have while doing a 5-year dual degree course. Sometimes the course duration for some people may seem too long. Most I have heard some of my friends who think that BTech is also too long. It's although it's of just 4 years. So for most of the people, this 5-year course can be too long. Secondly, you don't have an option to do masters from some other or some better institute, or some people aspire to go abroad and do their masters. So in that sense, you don't have an option really. Thirdly, I would say that you don't really get a chance before after bachelor's. Some people, what they do is they take some industry experience and then they go for a master's degree. So in that 5-year integrated course, you don't have that option.
So your expertise is majorly in the data science and machine learning part. So I would like to ask it from you. How did you start with it in your college? And in specific sentences, please break down your growth and preparation journey in college year-wise.
Okay, so this is an interesting question, at least for me, because when I was in class 10th before coming to college, and class 10th, 11th, 12th, so I was basically interested in DS Algo. So at that time, I did some basic stuff on CodeChef and several other platforms like HackerRank. So yeah, it was not something like DP or DP on trees type of questions. It was just a basic stuff. I did some questions on recursions or backtrack, but yeah, of course, they were simple ones. So when I came to the college in first year, I basically explored several fields like web, IoT, Android, etc. So I knew basic data structures algo, but these things were new for me. So I was basically attracted towards them, and I did some projects on web, IoT, Android, as I said. Then on second year, I focused mainly on my academics because CGPA is sometimes important when you are appearing for final year internships or jobs. So in my college, typically if you have 7.5 or above, then you are eligible for most of the companies. So I majorly focused in second year. So second year we were having most of our core subjects like DS, data structures, networking, DBMS, these kinds of subjects. So I focused on that. Yeah, in second year, in fourth semester, I was given one opportunity from one of my professors, Professor Nurag Srivastav. He gave me an opportunity to help me with a pending POC for a patent, and that's how the patent thing came around. Later in second year, I started with ML, just the basic like Coursera courses or Udemy courses with some of my friends, and did some courses, like I said, on several websites and YouTube. But I was not really getting the confidence of doing the practical stuff, or I was not getting the feel what exactly is machine learning and how algorithms are working and how people are doing it in the industry. So then on before starting with some projects, I did some hands-on interactive courses on DataCamp. These are really good courses. If in DataCamp, these are several short courses, interactive ones, which will equip you with the Python that is involved in the data science. If you are going with R, there are some courses on R as well on DataCamp. And of course, I would recommend if you are a beginner and if you want to, just get a hands-on experience on just the basic scikit-learn projects, I would recommend you see Data School's YouTube videos. So these are really good, and these two sources, gave me a confidence that I can move on by doing some basic projects on my own. And little by little, from here and there, like reading some articles, reading some blogs, some YouTube videos, I started with some projects and got involved with a master project of one of my seniors. So yes, he was very cool guy, and we did a project on 3D path planning. And later on, for my undergraduate project, also I did a project on the same, related to that, not exactly the same, which was based on hardcode AI and optimization algorithm. So this was not based on machine learning or deep learning. It was just an AI project on optimization algorithms, nature-inspired algorithms. And around the same time, when after this thing got finished, it around 4 to 5 months after this, I was involved with other one of my other seniors, Vaishnav Chandak. So he needed some help with publishing his research paper, which he did as his master's project. So although he had most of the stuff figured it out himself, but this opportunity gave me a breakthrough into the publication field. And along with my then after some time, along with my undergrad project team, we went on to publish several research papers and several book chapters on this topic only, like my undergrad thesis, which was 3D path planning. So it was an amazing team. Huge shout out to Rahat and Akshat. If you're watching this video, you were awesome. Yeah, so that's how little by little, you never plan things beforehand. If you go by your gut feeling and give your 100%, when you look back, it will look like everything was planned, everything came around so beautifully. But when you're doing it, you never know that how things will shape up. So that's how the patent came around. That's how 4 research papers came around. Some book chapters came around by just doing, just following my gut feeling and putting in some hard work. Everything glossy till now. Then on in fourth year, we several companies started visiting our campus for summer internship. So Amazon visited, Gojek visited. I also appeared for Microsoft and Goldman Sachs, but I was rejected. So later on, I was having some self confidence that I have done some stuff in machine learning. So I should brush up my skills and then have some confidence and then again appear for some interviews. So later on, after 4 to 5 months, I guess in November of 2019, with some help of my seniors and of course through LinkedIn, I got several interviews for summer as well as 2 months winter internship. From then on, I am doing back-to-back internships till now. So of course, you should always have a good LinkedIn profile and a good resume, and you should always reach out to our seniors.
The next question for you. So this is again regarding the main topic of this podcast. You can say knowing about the interview processes. So although like you have interned with some of the good companies, but I would like to know the complete interview process of Zomato and Dell. Zomato, you interned there as a like machine learning and data science role, and in the Dell you interned as a like software profile. So what was the like complete interview process for both, and like how many rounds, and in each round what kind of topics and questions they were focusing on?
Interview processes of pretty much every company for an internship is pretty much the same. Only the difficulty level changes. If you specifically ask me for Zomato, so this full-time offer was through a PPO, that is pre-placement offer. I was offered a full-time role after completion of my internship. So I did a 4 months internship and they offered me full-time post the completion of my internship. So Zomato intern interview process was pretty much straightforward. There was only a single round with two interviewers. They first started with a discussion on general discussion on my resume, and then they had some cross questions for whatever I was explaining and through my past experience, internship experience, and generally on my projects, internship experience, my research papers, and what all stuff I have mentioned in my resume. Then they asked me two coding questions. One was on Heap and other was on DB. After this, they asked me SQL questions, three SQL questions. There were some questions on my project, and the difficulty level of the questions, the coding questions they asked me was lead code medium, I would say. Generally, in other interviews also, I have faced coding questions. They were lead code medium or sometimes lead code easy as well. Overall, I would say that the interview was very well structured and the interviewers were very helpful and friendly. So it depends on you. If you are very anxious and very nervous, so the interviewer will not be also confident. You should be confident, then the interviewer will also be very confident and you can have a friendly discussion. So I would suggest that be very confident, be patient, hear the questions clearly, and then go for your answer. And for Dell Technologies, the offer was through campus placements. So there were 3 rounds of interviews and an online test. The online test was quite very well structured and it consists of three sections of fixed duration. So there was one section of aptitude technical questions and three coding questions were there. So overall, it was aptitude was of I guess 20 minutes. Technical MCQs were of 55 minutes, and technical I guess there were 45 to 50 questions in technical section. The coding part had 3 questions which were of 50 minutes. In combined for all the 3 questions, there were 50 minutes. After this, out of 150 students, those who appeared for this test, 50 were shortlisted for the interviews. First round was a technical round with 2 interviewers. Questions were on my resume, my research paper, and my patent. Like just like Zomato, like every other interview that I faced. Generally, questions are on my resume. After this, they asked me two lead code medium level questions. One was on circular linked list, and there were 4 SQL queries. They wrapped up the interview by asking some behavioral questions. After that, next day we had a second round. That was the managerial round. The manager was very helpful, and I would say it was not a typical job interview, but a general discussion about me, my interest, and how I see my career. And again, there was lots of discussion on my resume, my internships, my projects, etc., etc. Actually, the discussion on my internship went for 45 minutes. So the interview was around for 1 hour, 1 hour, 10 minutes. So actually, we devoted most of the time discussing my internship at GoIBIBO. So I would suggest to others that whatever you write on your resume, you should be fully confident and one should keep calm and have organized thoughts in his mind. After this, there was an HR round, which consisted of some behavioral questions. It went on for about 15 minutes.
So Priyansh, like you have interned with like n number of companies, cracked some of them and was rejected by some of them as well, including on campus, off campus, national, international opportunities. So tell our viewers that like how were you looking and getting these awesome off campus and international opportunities? That would be my priority to know. And what kind of solid profile did you create so that like it was getting noticed? Also explain the generic reason behind the rejections.
Yeah, so my secret would be first of all have a stellar resume, and in addition have a awesome LinkedIn profile. Generally, if you are looking for off campus, these two things are mandatory, I would say. Secondly, have a belief and confidence. Have a self belief that you are going to make it. You can make it. If you are searching and applying for off campus opportunities, the best source what I recommend is LinkedIn. LinkedIn jobs, or sometimes recruiters or some other people also post in the create a post and just give their email ID that they are looking for someone for internship or full time in their team. So make a lots of connections and of course spend time on LinkedIn. So consider LinkedIn as an investment. So if you spend some time today and make some connections, make have some networking, so later on it would help you out. Selection and rejection are part of the process, and one should not be disheartened by this. Interviews are also a learning experience, so learn from your mistakes and keep going. While creating your resume, you should be very keen for attention to detail. Resume building is also a multi-step process. It's not like you just create your resume one time and then for 6 to 7 months, next 6 to 7 months you are using that. Or some people just make it once and then for eternity they use that resume. So it's a multi-step process. One should prepare it carefully, and most of the time it could be a potential deal maker or a deal breaker. Because if you have some spelling mistakes on your resume, it's not looking aesthetically good. It's not looking beautiful, or some other mistakes in your resume. So you should spend some time over it and take some ideas from the internet, from LinkedIn. Today now these days you have so many resources for that. You can what I would recommend is make a single page resume. It's always recommended for freshers to have a single page resume. What all things you have done, you can always break it down into a single page, because generally people don't have that much time to have a walkthrough to a multi-page resume. So you should have a single page resume. That's what I would recommend. If you ask me, I had 4 research papers, a patent, a book chapter, and lots of internship experience. So these things helped me a lot in the interview process. And of course, they made me stand out of the crowd. Many a times, they also gave me a wildcard entry directly to the interviews, not having facing the screening round or some initial stages of interviews. If you have an awesome profile, so anybody would be happy enough to give you a referral. In my opinion, if you like you said that what was the generic reason for rejections? In my opinion, the only main reason for rejection was lack of preparation and not luck. I'm not very good at DSLGO myself, and so sometimes I feel that this is the reason for most of the rejections. Obviously lack of preparation, and this year due to COVID also I had to face some of the rejections. So most of the companies were not hiring, or they have stopped their hiring process. So some for some of the companies it was due to COVID, but generally I think that the main reason is lack of preparation, because that's the thing that is in your hand. Like you can never do anything about the external factors. You can just brush up your skills and have a best version of yourself before appearing in an interview.
Actually, Priyansh, to be very honest, like lots of viewers of my channel and the subscriber, they keep on asking me, bring someone from the data science domain and who is fresher. They had these kind of question like how to prepare and major part, what is the role of DSA and these things. In data science interviews, how much coding and DSA knowledge is expected from a candidate? What all things a fresher should cover in DSA and till what extent to crack data science interviews?
Yeah, so this is a good question, and I would say that coding is absolute must for most of the cases, and generally it is the filtering criteria for the screening round. So if you don't make it past the online test, then obviously you will miss the opportunity. So coding is absolute must. So therefore, I would suggest that before starting with data science, one should have a command over DSAlgo. If you talk about the level of questions or level of preparation that one should do, so from my experience, I have faced in data science interviews generally lead code medium and lead code easy questions. Rarely I see a lead code hard question. Generally, they are easy to medium. Things that one should prepare before appearing in data science interviews is you know all the basic ML algos, deep learning algos, just the basic ones, not the the high-fi ones, or just the basics like CNN, RNN, LSTM, or the ML algos. If you say like logistic regression, linear regression, random forest, KNN, this kind of algos, SVM, not the very high-fi ones. Generally they will ask you the basic ones only. Other than this, what all you have mentioned in your resume, like if you have some project and if you have some algorithm in that, so you should be fully aware what is the math behind it and how this algorithm is working, why you have chosen this algorithm. So yeah, they will basically grill you upon your projects, generally on your projects, and they will ask you about the basic ML algorithm and how to for freshers it's generally somewhat difficult to directly get into data science full-time roles. So what I would suggest is like that I've also personally tried, and I would recommend that always try to get some internships. So by internships you can get a PPO, and that would be somewhat easy as compared to getting a directly a full-time role.
We were talking about the data science, and I know you talked about the basic things, but here most of the people are concerned like what would be the first step, what would be the second step, kind of a roadmap from scratch. So share the correct roadmap to become a like data scientist, including some top-notch resources. Like obviously you would have followed some resources probably from YouTube or any course or from the Google. So whatever you have used and whatever crisp roadmap you followed to get into this data science domain, that would be great if you can share with our viewers.
If you ask me what would be the crisp roadmap for somebody starting with data science, so I would say first of all have a great command over the language. So you can either choose Python or R. These are the most popular ones. People also do some in other languages also, but I would recommend that you go with the Python or R. So personally, I do Python. So for starting with Python, what I would suggest is there is one book, Head First Python by O'Reilly. So you can refer to that book. It's a very fun book. It's not just like a typical book. It's very interactive, I would say. So these are two contradictory words, book and interactive. But when you will read that book, you will find it very interactive and very interesting. So first of all, read that book, and then personally for me, I went to data camp, and there you will learn Python that is used in machine learning. So what I meant by that is like you would learn the basics of pandas, NumPy, and how these things are used in machine learning. So the basic stuff that goes in with the Python, and especially for ML, you will learn the stuff from there. Then, if you ask me for databases or these kind of things, so I would say PostgreSQL or MySQL, you can always have some basic knowledge. Of course, those who are doing BTech, they will of course having some database courses in their semester. So have some basic knowledge of how data DBMS works and what all things are there, and then get some basic knowledge of MySQL and PostgreSQL. And then if you are having some confidence when you have done some baby projects, then of course you should try and target mathematics behind the algorithms. So for that, I would recommend reading the 100-page machine learning book. So don't be fascinated by that. It's just 100 page. It's more than 100 page. The title is only the 100-page machine learning book. And the second source would be Hands-on Machine Learning with Scikit-learn and TensorFlow. So that book is by O'Reilly. You can always refer that book for mathematics behind the algorithms. And after this, when you are confident enough, then of course, just appear in interviews, give interviews, do some internships, and then you can later on, you can always refer to some Medium articles or some research papers. Analytics Vidya is a very good source. Data towards data science on Medium is a very good source. Always, you can always, for any algorithm or any article regarding data science, I always refer to that. And of course, Free Coding Camp website is also a very good source, so that you can always refer these three sources. Otherwise, you can sometimes also do some course on Coursera or Udemy, but generally I don't do it personally. I always go to Medium articles. And of course, if you are trying something ambitious or trying something new, always go for research papers. So they will give you the correct knowledge, and everything would be mentioned in a research paper. So complete knowledge would be there. And of course, Kaggle, Udemy, these kind of sources you can always visit. And sometimes what I've seen is people also ask guesstimate questions and root cause analysis questions in data science interviews. So for that, I would recommend one book, Cracking the Case Interviews by Saransh. So you can find it on Amazon. I guess you can find it in the description below. For guesstimates, you can always refer to Cracking the Case Interviews book. And also, if you are interested, then you can also read Guesstimates 2.0. So for that also you can find the link in the description. Take one step at a time, and it will take time initially. Focus on the basics, and then so little by little you will grow, you will have self-confidence, and then go for interviews. And for DSLGO, I would recommend Geek for Geeks and LeetCode, although I am not a pro myself, but I study from there. And for system design, I would say booking the system design interview from educative.io. It's a very good source. I'm also not an expert on this, but for me, I've always referred to this source. And of course, YouTube. On YouTube, you will find lots of free education like Shashank's channel. So he gives you interview insights, and you can always for any tutorial or learning anything new, you can always refer to YouTube channels.
We talked about the roadmaps and other things, experiences and all. Suggest some like self-made project ideas to freshers in the field of data science and machine learning, because you have a very, very broad idea of it. You have done these kind of stuff. So share these kind of ideas so that at least our viewers who are new into the data science, they can start with it.
For project ideas, what I can suggest is you can look at some YouTube videos. So there is ample of content out there nowadays. What I would recommend is also like do some baby projects for self-learning from Kaggle and some online courses, etc. on your own. And then you can do one or two projects based on some research papers. Even though one or two projects are sufficient, I would say, for interview point of view, if they are good enough, of course. In the beginning, I also did surf through LinkedIn and I used to see some profiles of well-established data scientists and what all projects they have mentioned in their resume and what all they did while they were in college. So, you can take some ideas from the people who are already established data scientists. And of course, I took some ideas from there and planned my projects accordingly. Later on, I did some projects based on some research papers. So if you ask me what all projects, namely, if you ask me some 4 to 5 ideas that I would suggest to freshers they can work on, is like they can build a recommended system like Spotify or something like LinkedIn, Spotify, etc. They can also work on image super resolution, video super resolution, image in painting, video in painting. Intent detection is also very popular nowadays. So at LinkedIn, at Facebook, they are working on intent detection through images and through videos. So you can work on those projects. Now people would say that these things seem very ambitious. How we will start with these kind of projects? So of course, like I said, always refer to some research papers. So go to their websites and see the research paper. They would have beautifully mentioned and described how they have done all this. So you can learn from this and also do some projects on this. So research papers are a very great source for doing projects and for self-learning.
Priyansh, I will wrap up this session with one last question final that would be motivation related. So obviously you were rejected by some of the good companies, and so like how did you deal with the rejections? And the next point would be like how like you kept yourself motivated all the time.
Yeah, so for me, what I personally think is rejection can be a blessing in disguise, and take it as a feedback and an opportunity to learn more. So if you are getting rejected today, maybe in 2 to 3 months of time, you might be having an awesome opportunity. And many cases I have seen that people land up a better opportunity than they were rejected before. So if you are getting rejected in on-campus placements again and again, don't lose hope. Think of it is in this way, like most of the people who are being selected early stop hustling in the way they did before. Whereas you being rejected constantly, you can, every time when you are appearing for new companies are visiting the campus, you are constantly preparing and you are constantly honing your skills. So sometimes these things help in you in the long run, and these things are part of a bigger picture. And rejection, think of it is like in this way, that rejection means something far greater is waiting for you in the future.
Correct, correct. So yep, that was all about this session, guys. And thank you so much, Priyansh, for joining us today and sharing those valuable advices and your interview experiences with n number of companies. So I hope that will help our viewers to at least kick off their journey. I hope, guys, you would have liked this video, and if you have anything, you can connect with Priyansh. All the like social media links will be in the description. Thank you very much, Priyansh.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me, and I highly appreciate you being giving time for this. And for people, if you want any help, you can always reach out to me on LinkedIn. I would be happy enough to help you out. So thanks a lot, Shashank, for having me.
So that was all about this video, guys. I hope you would have found it really informative, and if you did, then make sure to like this video and share it with your friends so that they can prepare things accordingly. And I will see you guys in next weekend with another amazing interview experience. Till then, just stay safe, stay home, take care of yourself and your family too.